What's up with that? It's Ball or Nothing!
Oh!
I'm your host, John Roberts, and with me today is my good friends Jasper Grover and Edward Dunstan. Yeah, we're just talking bye weeks. Only one team has won so far coming off the bye. Can you tell me which team that is?
Oh, I can't actually.
It's St Kilda.
I forgot.
St Kilda.
Was that last weekend? Did they win?
They did. They beat the Swans, who are also coming off a bye.
Oh, that's
excellent.
the buttered toast or the falling cat. What will land top up? Because they always land.
So preview for what's coming later in the show, Ed. You've got a fix for the bye weeks and this conundrum.
Yeah. So I mean, we're going to solve the problem because it's a huge problem. It's a stain on our game. It makes me want to switch off football. And Gil, I hope you're listening. So yeah.
So are you saying that teams that don't play a football match makes you want to switch off football? You can't watch.
I was going to point that out. But
not only is there less of it for me to watch, I want to watch even less in protest of there being a bye, because it's not good enough. We should be having 9 games every single week for 23 weeks, and that's how it should be. But later in the show, I will have a few solutions that might please both the players and us as supporters. So, yeah.
Just the last thing on it for now, what I find strangest about it is there's still a Thursday night game, a Friday night game, Saturday night game, and then even though there's
more,
three...
more nights of football with less games being played.
You would think.
It makes no sense.
That they would schedule just like having a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But no, they do lengthen it out. And it's so strange. I don't know. It's like the only game on at a particular time is Freo versus GWS, and you're like, I could watch this, but I want
It's
to.
probably like
I did watch it.
It's probably like when you've got a slab, like a fresh slab, and you're just like, I got all the beer in the world, and then you're down to your last like 8 beers. You're like, oh shit. Well, I'm only gonna have 1 beer a night from now on. So the less you have, like you try and stretch it out as much as you can. Like a little bit for a longer period of time.
Just edging,
On the casting couch, just edging away.
Exactly.
Well, because of the bye weeks, I've only got 4 top moments from the round, not 5.
Well, that's right. Your 5th moment's having the week off.
Yeah, my 5th moment was the fact that the Hawks and the Bombers were both on bye and I didn't have to talk or think about them. But number 4, it is the team on top of the ladder, sitting in pole position, Port Adelaide. I probably shouldn't be celebrating too much because it was the cost of my Cats going down. But they were always going to win that game.
Really? Okay. Because I thought everyone was pretty pumped up about this game. Like,
I mean, Geelong looked like they were in the front seat with the second quarter.
The only thing that wasn't pumped up was Dangerfield's lungs. So.
Sick burn. Look, we played well in the first quarter, or rather, I should say Gary Rowan played really well in the first quarter. And then after that, it's sort of like Port Adelaide made the adjustments that they wanted to make, and it was all over. I feel like Port Adelaide, this might be a hot take, but I think they've got one of the best forward lines in the competition between Jeremy Finlayson, Todd Marshall, and Sam Palpepper are all playing out of their mind at the moment. And I haven't even said bloody Charlie Dixon either.
I was going to say, don't say Charlie Dixon. I don't think he's good. But the other three totally agree. I think that Port Adelaide is looking good for now. But I think I want to see them in a few rounds. This time last year, Melbourne was dominating, and then they fell off a cliff. So a very impressive win, absolutely. But I think I need to see a few more wins in Melbourne that aren't at Marvel. Hopefully they play at the G sometime soon.
No, I think they're done for the year. I think it was just the Pies game, wasn't it?
Oh, no, because I just remembered Port Adelaide play a very big Melbourne team 1 week's time at the G. So is Essendon. and that will be their proper litmus test as to where they're at.
I had a big focus on the Cats' defense is just under so much pressure at the moment. And we haven't particularly lost anyone either. Like Tom Stewart's still playing well, but I feel like Jack Henry hasn't been fully fit since his preseason injury. Sam de Koning has not been the same sort of quality that he was last year that everyone was so surprised and loving him for. So this is since round one, so all year. So round one, we gave up 125 points to the Pies. Round two, we gave up 90 points to the Blues. We know what they are. Round five, we gave up 89 points to the West Coast Eagles.
Wow.
Even though we did smash them in that game. Round seven, we gave up 104 points to the Bombers, but they're a good team, so it's respectable. Round nine, 102 to the Tigers, 106 to Freo, and on the weekend, I think it was 109 or 110 in the end to the best team in the league, Port Adelaide.
Wow.
In saying that, your Geelong's percentage is still 113, which is a lot better than the people around them.
Yeah. So we're still winning some of those games. We didn't lose all those games that I just mentioned. In fact, I think we won quite a few of them. But it just shows how much pressure the defense is under, even like to the quality that they are. And from what everyone's discussing, all the Geelong crowd it is all coming through from the midfield woes. Like we haven't had Dangerfield be able to put a solid sort of mid-season so far together. I think also losing Cam Guthrie so far, he hasn't played a game so far this season. I think that's really starting to catch on. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but Reece Stanley not playing, I didn't think it could be much worse than Reece Stanley. I was wrong about Reece Stanley. He might actually be the key to unlocking all of this.
Yeah, wow. So you're saying no Reece Stanley, no Geelong.
I'm saying no Reece Stanley, no Geelong. And I cannot believe I'm saying that.
What about John Segler?
Segler, who he was a late scratch last week.
Yeah, that's why you lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
I did watch a bit of the Port Adelaide Geelong game, and Port Adelaide, because I saw most of I think from probably halfway through the second quarter onwards, and especially in the second half, they just looked unstoppable. Like Geelong just couldn't get the ball back, and Port Adelaide's like running carry, and their midfield is pretty awesome. I reckon.
Yeah.
They do look, I will say this to you, John, pretty fucking good. So I think I think that would be a pretty safe bet to be in the top four at the end of the year. What do you reckon, Jess?
Who, Port or Geelong?
Port.
Geelong might not even make the eight.
Top four. I reckon Port's top two, I reckon.
Yeah.
Hey,
I reckon Melbourne or Collingwood will usurp them?
Hard to say. I mean, Port's on top now, but they play one more game. So Pies can catch them this week, or the Pies on a bye this week. No, the Pies must be playing. So Pies could catch them this week. They're against Adelaide. So, but I mean, I reckon it'll be Port and either Collingwood or Melbourne. I reckon Collingwood will finish top and then Port second, probably.
Hey, how's this for company? List of players to poll 11 votes. Poll votes in at least 11 games in a row. Luke Hodge, Scott Pendlebury, Trent Cotchin, Nat Fyfe, Dan Hanbury, Patrick Dangerfield, Tuke Miller, and freshly added to the list, Zak Butters.
I'm guessing these are coaches' votes?
Yes.
Yeah.
He is having some sort of a season. And I did see, I think it was Fox Footy who tweeted it out, that the current two favourites to win the Brownlow as of right now, or whenever it was posted a few hours ago, is Zak Butters and Tim Taranto.
Oh, wow. Nick Dacos isn't in the bunch?
I thought it would have been.
And the Bont as well.
And the Bont. Maybe I'll jump on the not safe for work.
But I mean, gambling. Gambling odds are always of the moment, so they disregard anything that happened more than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I can't find the futures. All right, I'll come back. I'll come back to that.
Hawks are a lock for the finals according to Sportsbet. So
they're locked in.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
Okay, it's not up on PointsBet right now, so I will come back to that and I will fact check. I probably won't. Okay, so number 3 moment from the weekend: Trent Cotchin, 300th game, 19 disposals, 8 contested possessions, 3 clearances, 3 inside 50s, 2 goals in just the first half. I did tip Saints to win. I didn't know.
I was going to say, I thought those were almost his halftime stats when what you were reading out.
Yeah, I was. And Saints sit 2 points outside of the top 8.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, injuries of course.
Sorry, Richmond Tigers. Yeah,
Saints are 5th. Yeah.
As soon as said that, I was like, that doesn't sound right at all.
Yeah, I mean, Tigers still a good team. I reckon there's shades of like Hawks in 2018 about them. Hawks in 2018 were probably more successful in the regular season. Like they made top 4, they scratched into it, but it was obvious to everyone, probably outside the team, that rather than inside the team, that was the last years of the club. Whereas I think Richmond probably is more aware of where they're at. I reckon, which is part of why Hardwick's probably stepped away.
Or do you think Hardwick was holding him back?
Oh, good call.
He was dealing.
Or maybe he's their good luck charm when he's in the crowd instead.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Was he handing out a bit of CBD oil before the games or something?
Yeah, the players were just much more relaxed, and when
they were too relaxed before the game. What even matters, bro?
So Andrew McQualter, the interim Richmond coach, he must be thinking, gee, this AFL head coaching job, it's not too hard, is it?
Is he? I wonder whether this is like an audition, or this is like, nah, this is just, you're just filling the role for the rest of the year. Because sometimes there's like times where the interim coach is like auditioning for the role, and there's other times where it's like, no, we just don't want to put anyone in the seat right now. You're the most experienced or most applicable assistant. We know you're not going to actually get the job at the next season.
I think that's always the case, is but like, how often has an interim coach ever proved like, hey, I am actually the guy for the job? And so how many weeks has he been in? Because they've won the last 3 games, and their only loss, if they're 4-1, their loss was to Port Adelaide by 10 points.
It would have been. It was after the Essendon game, wasn't it? Isn't that when he?
Yeah.
Killers. Yeah. So they lost their first game with him, and then they've won the last 3.
Yeah. So I think he's doing a good job. Speaking of doing a good job, Tim Taranto, one of my favorite players in the league, 38 disposals, 10 tackles, 6 clearances, and a goal in the last 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah, he looks super.
He's all right.
Yeah. What's the deal with the Saints?
I think the Saints are probably coming back to the pack a little bit after a bit of a new coach bounce at the start of the year. I think their list quality has been found out a little bit. I don't think they're bad. I just think that there's enough teams with players who are better than them that they need, like, I feel like when they got those players like Brad Crouch and Dan Hanbury and Brad Hill and other, they got like strong, like B+ players into their team, and I think it was the wrong move. Like they didn't have enough. Like I think a bunch of their draft picks have like turned into decent players, but not like A graders. Like Hunter Clark was meant to be awesome, and he's just an okay player and stuff like that. I feel like they're a good team. I reckon they'll make finals because they've got an all right draw and they've got enough good players, but they're definitely not like a great team this year. They're just like, Essendon, St Kilda, Bulldogs, just like a decent team without being anything special, I think.
Yeah, I think they probably overperformed early in the season, but I think that then that performance puts them in a level above where most people had them at the start of the season. For the rest, like over a season as a whole, they're better than what people thought they were, but they're not as good as they looked early in the season.
Yeah, And they probably need they need like an extra key forward. And I do have a Saints fan living with us at the moment who says they need to get rid of Dougal Howard because
I think
Dougal Howard is a huge liability.
Yeah. So you're saying get Ben King in the forward line?
Yeah.
No,
put him in the back line. Put him in the back line.
You said they needed another key forward.
They need another key forward, but they also need to replace Dougal Howard in the back line. So yeah.
So they get a really good forward and put him in the back line.
Yeah, that's what you do. Yeah, because that's where they do the most damage. So
if we kick goals, kick it from the back line.
Set the play up.
They started the season, so the first few rounds they played Freo. They won all these games. They beat Freo, the Bulldogs, the Bombers, and the Suns, and then they lost to Collingwood. So that you could pick that, and then the next game against Carlton they won, and then they lost to Port Adelaide. They win all the game. They beat all the teams that they should beat, and they lose to all the teams that they should lose to. Their only really bad loss was the other weekend to the Hawks.
I disagree.
But then the other thing with it, I'd say why everyone took notice of the weekend pass is that they probably should have beaten Richmond. If they're about making fifth or sixth, they should have probably found a way to beat them. But I think when it started raining, everyone was like, Richmond's going to win because they're really good in the rain. So, yeah.
Had I known it was Trent Cotchin's 300th game, I probably wouldn't have tipped the Saints, but I had exactly the same thoughts. I was like, if the Saints are a serious team, they need to win this game.
Yeah.
But it turns out, the Tigers, man, they're a serious team. I think that they are a real solid chance to make the 8.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I reckon
it's just falling into place. It's going to be ninthman all over again.
I hope it goes back to ninthman. That would be awesome. I think there's games throughout the year when you don't make the 8, you're like, we really should have won that game. And Richmond's probably already had a couple of those. They lost to the Bombers and they were in front, and
they lost to the Suns. They probably should have won that.
Yeah.
But they've had some good wins. Oh, they drew with Carlton. That was bad. They lost to Adelaide, but you could see that. They lost to the Pies. They lost to the Dogs. So they've lost to good teams. Oh, they lost to the Swans. They got thrashed by the Swans. And then they lost to the Dees. So they were at one point 1-5.
Yeah, they had a very poor start to the season. There's a reason Hardwick left. It wasn't because they were being too successful.
Oh, they were 1-6.
They were 1-6 and one draw or something. Yeah. They're actually in quite good form at the moment. So maybe their win against the Saints makes sense.
Yeah, sorry, and their only win was to the Eagles. So then they started to go on a roll. So then they beat the Eagles. They beat the Cats. They lost by 1 point to the Bombers. Then they lost to Port Adelaide figure. And then they beat the Giants. They beat Freo in Freo, which was awesome, in Perth, sorry. And then they beat the Saints on the weekend. So, yeah. They're not rusty just yet. Did you see? So the last player, Trent Cotchin got in his 300th game, got a win against St Kilda. The last player to do that against the Saints, winning their 300th game against the Saints, was Lance Franklin. Drew Petrie before that, and then
Drew Petrie.
All right, well, maybe this stat doesn't hold that much weight then.
It's just getting wins. And the other good one that I saw, most games as coaching and captain pairings was Trent Cotchin and Damien Hardwick, which has come to an end. But in super pole position is Chris Scott and Joel Selwood with 245.
Jesus, that's a lot of receiving the same message.
I'm gonna go early, but this segues directly right into my trivia. So,
shoot,
go for it.
You mentioned Selwood and Chris Scott. Well, he's coaching his 300th game.
300th, yep.
So
tomorrow night, actually.
How many of the top 5 most games played for a coach? Most games coached. Can you name?
Can you start that again? Can you start that again? Sorry.
Don't
How
do
many?
What Dunny don't.
Who have got the most? Which coaches have the most games coached?
So who's coached the most games?
Yeah, is the easiest way to say it. It's just the changing from games played to games coached really threw me there for a loop.
Who's coached the most games?
So Kevin Sheedy
is number 2 all time, 669.
Yeah, cool.
669.
Correct.
Yeah, he coached for 27 years.
That was just at Essendon, wasn't it?
Yep.
Not including GWS.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
669.
Yeah. And he's second.
That's nuts.
Yeah. And who coached for the longest? It's probably like, is it like
what era?
Ron Barassi?
Similar era to Sheedy, a bit later. Ron Barassi's number 3 all time, 509. So there is a big gap between 2 and
later than Sheedy.
Oh, Mick Malthouse.
Correct.
Mick I was going to say Mick Malthouse.
All time, 710.
710 games. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Because he coached Footscray, West Coast, Collingwood, and the Blues.
Yeah, I'm guessing the Blues wish he had he didn't take over shit.
Blues fans hate Mick Malthouse.
Yeah, for good reason. I would if he
destroyed their club. So
yeah. Hey, well, speaking of the Blues.
Oh wait, we haven't got the other 2.
You go, oh Jesus!
Is there more?
Yeah, top 5, mate. Top 5.
I thought you just wanted 1.
No,
4 and
top
5.
5. So you got 2 more. Both very old, both related to Hawthorn in some way or shape or form.
Far out. What's his name? The 80s coaches and stuff.
Correct. You might wear him.
Norm Jeans or something.
Very close. Alan Jeans.
Alan Jeans. Yeah,
and then number 4, he's Hawthorn and Carlton. Actually, he's got
David Hackett.
That is correct. Yeah.
Oh man, I know my coaches.
Yeah, you do. There you go. Top 5. Now you can go, Johnny.
Yeah, cool.
I'll allow you to now talk about the Blues.
I know like nothing about football prior to I reckon 2000.
Somebody clip that and just loop that around.
Timestamp.
Yeah.
Like prior to 2004, I would say.
Yeah.
It was
actually that's not true because anyway.
That Port Adelaide grand final drew you in.
Finally.
But finally the Brisbane Lions can stop winning. All right. Speaking of Carlton fans, they've got something to be happy about because at number 2, Carlton registered 9 unanswered goals in the second quarter. It was actually 12 in total. The Blues scored, but they did score 9 goals in 24 minutes.
Yeah, it was
to thrash the Suns.
Somebody who wants the Suns to do well this year. It was, it was not what you want to say.
It's pretty deflating.
Especially when it's a team like Carlton who have, this isn't like Port or Collingwood or someone. This is a team that has not played well in the last 2 months.
Yeah, and they absolutely... I was watching that second quarter and...
so was I.
And it was like, this is so depressing. Come on, Gold Coast.
It literally, they had that stat where they kicked 4 goals in a row, I think, from the centre bounce.
Yeah.
Where the record of all time is 6, I think, in a game. And it was just, it looked like they were literally witches' hats out there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. And I think that's where they might miss someone like Took Miller because Noah Anderson and Matt Rao are great. They're awesome, but they're both pretty inexperienced. They're 21 years old.
Yeah.
And
Took will just go in there and get the ball.
Yeah, well, it's he's also he's in his mid to late 20s. He's just an older player. He's more experienced. And I don't know. I just think that's where you probably stemming the flow in games or that kind of mature move. They probably missed it. Yeah,
it doesn't bode well for Stewie Dew's tenure.
No.
Sometimes that can be linked to, the players. They aren't playing for the coach sort of thing, so they try and mix that up.
It is that thing of it's interesting reflecting on last year where some of the issue with some Essendon supporters with Ben Rutten is that it wasn't that we were losing so many games, it was that how we were losing them. And I don't necessarily agree entirely with them, but the fact that we were getting when we got beaten, we got absolutely destroyed. And that is probably one of those losses on the weekend. It's that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
10-goal loss to a team that is below you by a few places and like in the bottom four, I think, at the time. So
they were, yeah.
So that's pretty bad.
I think the other thing as well is like the Suns have been relying on people like Jack Lukosius to be sort of kicking lots of goals for them, which he didn't in this game. And a few of their good players, sort of like Charlie Ballard's had a really good season, and he was pretty bad against the Blues offense. Will Powell, same. He's been a good, like they've had a good defense going, but just didn't show up on the weekend. What's their record like at the MCG?
Oh, at the G, I don't know.
I mean, I would think it'd be in line with Gold Coast record everywhere except for Darwin, which is pretty.
Yeah. And then Ben King, he's just he's not really playing at that level that everyone thought he would.
He's just freshly back, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Knee Rico, yeah. I think he's been okay. I reckon he'll be hopefully like better for the run next season, and he'll smash it then. He's still kicking he's kicked like 30 goals already this year or more maybe. So he's averaging like 2 point something goals a game, which is not bad.
I think Mac Andrew as well, sort of tough lesson coming into the league as well as like one of the new recruits.
Yeah. Gold Coast at the MCG, they've played 17 and they've won 4.
Yeah, so not good.
I mean, like they were obviously they were awful at the start of their when they were first created.
That sounds like first created some kind of like
I started going
in a Russian lab or something. Yeah.
Obviously, they were all absolutely dreadful. So I don't know how like when those 4 wins came, whether I can probably find out. But
Tuke Miller should be back in about 3 weeks, perhaps.
Really? Wow, that would be if they could like get a couple of wins out of the next 2 weeks. Like they'll be fine. Hopefully, I really want the Gold Coast to make the 8. I reckon that would be awesome.
I mean, they're still only 1 game back. Well, 1 game in a percentage back, but thereabouts. But so is 4 other teams.
That was the most frustrating thing of reading one of these articles, and I'm not going to say where, but I think you guys know where. So that the article had put it that the Suns' loss was putting their finals hopes in doubt, whereas the Blues' win was keeping their finals hope alive. And I just want
2 points back from.
I just want to touch on this because the Suns are actually 2 points ahead of them. Carlton are 2 points back. Also, Carlton is going into a bye, and the Suns get to play a game next week where they could probably improve that record.
Well,
should they beat who are they playing? Are they playing the Hawks?
So they're sorry, Suns, you're out. You got no chance.
Anyway, I thought that was pretty rich from the media to be like, yeah, Blues, they're back in with a chance of the top 8. Suns, it's going to be tough from here. When it's like the Suns are clearly in a better position.
And
was this an article written by Lance Whitnell or?
I'm not going to say
in crayon by Lance Whitnell,
friend of the show, Andrew Thompson's favorite player.
It's his only favorite current player, so he thinks.
Yeah, yeah.
But the 12 unanswered goals was impressive in like the space of 30 minutes. First time Blues have done that in 25 years. Also interesting. So most recent Carlton games was 7 or more multiple goal kickers. Can you guess when the last time that happened was?
2012.
Yeah.
2014. But for most teams, it's not difficult to have 7 multiple goal kickers.
Isn't it?
I mean, probably is for Essendon. So I'm not gonna...
I'd be very curious to see when it was for each team. That would be cool stuff to see.
I might look into that because I know it's not hard for the Cats. Like we often have 7 multiple.
You're talking like that.
I thought it was quite common.
Yeah, well, you would when you just won a premiership last year.
Yeah, and you made like every prelim for like 12 years. So.
Port Adelaide had like 12 on the weekend.
Yeah, they're top of the ladder.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And then the other one that was excellent, Carlton win their first game since round 7. It's the longest losing streak. It's the biggest 100-point win after a losing streak that long. I've butchered it because the wording in what is being said is actually incorrect. So 7 losses in a row followed by a 100-point win went to Brisbane in 1993, 6 for Carlton now, and 6 for North Melbourne in 1981, and then 4 for Richmond in 2014. So all good fun.
Well done, the Blues.
And the last one, number 1, because is it just me or was there like a lot of chatter about this? It's a 50th game. Like, sure, that's great. 50 games is a very good feat, but I felt like I did not stop hearing about Cody Weightman playing his 50th game.
Oh, and his ability to mark it overhead. That was everyone was just like, wow.
The mark was cool. The 6 goals was awesome, but it was getting to the point where I was wondering if you know how like I've been complaining about players playing their 200th game and both teams lining up to cheer them off. I'm surprised that they didn't do that for Cody Weightman in his 50th.
He should have gone around the outside of the Oval in like a car before the game and waved to the
crowd. That's where I thought it was trending.
Yeah, it was wild. People love Cody Weightman though. The Bulldogs have, I reckon, like 3 of the most marketable players. That, Cody Weightman,
Bailey Smith,
attractive dude, Bailey Smith,
Bond,
and like Bond. Even I was also going to add in
Aaron Norton and his headband.
I don't know if the Bond is that marketable. He's not very. His personality is not
ads.
Like yeah, but I don't know. He's not. That's just because he's like a good player, so he's popular. I don't know. Like the teen girls love the Bond.
No, I reckon
35-year-old men.
Teen girls though, they love Jamari Ugle-Hagan. He's a body as well. So
yeah, that's true. He's a very inaccurate shot, but he's
he's not that good at footy, but he's good. So
he's actually one of the higher performing accurate kicks this season.
Really?
He's in
like I think his overall accuracy is awful. He's in the bottom 4, I think, of current players.
Couldn't be. I saw something today that said otherwise.
I'm gonna.
I was going to say when Jason Johannesson and when he had his Odell Beckham haircut, he was very popular as well.
Yeah.
Good team, the Dogs. Good win. North Melbourne disappointing again. 21-point loss to the Dogs, even despite the fact that Liam Jones got injured in like the first sort of 10 minutes. I think he might have fractured his arm.
Oh yeah, apparently it is like broken in like 3 places, and he's probably not going to play again this season. So
oh my god, that's awful.
They just have it came out today. I think that 3 of the Dogs defenders are out for like 2 months.
No, really?
That's
Tim
awesome.
O'Brien.
They lost Tim O'Brien. Hamstring, 8 to 9 weeks for a hamstring. Oh my god. Ed Richards, 3 to 4 weeks. Jason Johannesson, well, he's still out because he had that terrible hamstring from a couple of months ago. 4 to 5 weeks. Yeah, wow, their defense is in trouble. Garcia's out with a groin, 3 to 4 weeks. He's been playing well. Hayden Crozier's out for 10 weeks. Yeah, Liam Jones, 8 to 10 weeks. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Maybe set shots. Ugle-Hayden's been okay this season, but overall shots a goal, he's second last after Christian Petrarca.
Wow.
For shots on goal. So he's had 51 shots, and he's only goaled on 16 of those.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, he's had 51 shots a goal.
Yeah.
So he's kicked 16 goals, 35.
No, 16-22 with 13 no shots. So out on the full or didn't result in a score.
Wow. I had no idea. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's not just set shots. That's like on the run and stuff like that as well.
Because he does look like a good kick.
Well, he was drafted to be a good kick.
Well, I mean, Buddy was drafted to be a goal kicker, but he's not necessarily an accurate kick.
Is that like when people talk about Matt Suckling being a good kick, but actually it's like he's not? And
Matt Suckling's got a bit of the Sean Tates about him. Where he's a great field kick, but like every now and then he'll bite one off that just it goes haywire.
Okay.
Like I don't know, like Sicily's kind of similar, but he's a bit more restrained in his daring passes. Yeah, I don't know who now would be a field kick who is very like takes a lot of risks, and 80% of the time they come up, for 20% of the time they backfire.
Yeah,
and probably get a goal against you.
Because I remember on another football podcast, Will Anderson was saying that, because he goes for the Dogs, and he said that like there was this kind of myth that was built up that Matt Suckling was a really good kick, and he started to believe it, so he started making ridiculous kicks out in the field, and that they were just continually turning the ball over, and he's like, "What are you doing?" Like,
maybe the Dogs, but at the Hawks, like he was very good.
Yeah.
And then just the final point to finish on, because I'm going to say it every week until he stops. Harry Sheezel, 32 disposals, 5 clearances. The kid is amazing.
It's pretty good.
What a trooper.
That's it.
Melbourne. Yeah.
Don't forget, Reece Palmer had a good first year too.
That's true. The deserving winner of the Rising Star. Yes, I know.
Don't get fucking started, you motherfucker. I knew that was going to come up.
I forgot. You never forget. I mean, you never remember who comes second. So,
well, yeah, Ryan Burton with the 2018 one as well, stolen by.
Andrew McGrath. Yeah. People get so shirty about.
I'm still shitty about Cyril not getting it. Cyril was the better player, and it's so much better to give that kind of award to someone who's not a midfielder, isn't it? Like the Brownlow already goes to the midfielders. If someone is as exciting and cool and awesome as Cyril was in his first year.
But I mean, Cyril got on the end of a few, but Reece Palmer, he got started in the middle.
The defenders should probably win the award because they start the chain.
That's true. Goals. That's true. Yeah. Or the ruckman,
or the goal umpire who passes the ball.
They should have a Rising Star umpire award. That would be
great. I'm sure they do, and it's watched by all their loved ones.
I liked your hand movements when you gave the goal. It's good. So
get a bit of the Billy Bowden about him.
Yeah, exactly. Character. Yeah, they should have someone like that.
All right, Ed, let's jump into this week's Rules the World.
All right. I'm assuming the music is playing over the top. Anyway,
it is in all the listeners' heads.
Yeah, it does. But,
yeah, I know. Yeah, I listened back last week.
Did you finally?
I listened back to most of our episodes, and then I realized that I got to our segment and my music wasn't playing. That's okay. Not infringing on any copyrights.
We're only up to episode 12 or something. Finally,
I listened to like most of them, but anyway, all right. On to the problem of the week. Okay. We've got buys, right? And I don't know about you guys, but I'm over buys. I want to say bye to the buy. I don't think it works for AFL because we have these elongated rounds where like a few games take place, and I just think that we have other ways of, either the players getting a break or realizing that they don't really need one. And so
is this coming at it from a cycle like you say convincing the players that they don't need one? How is that going to come about?
Well, I'll tell you, but I have a few different solutions because I just don't think they're working. I think that I don't like.
They're literally not working. They're sitting on their ass. They're not working.
Exactly.
Lazy fucking players.
Lazy players. Okay, so one way is that I just thought about the regular working man, and and how we usually mark out leave, and it's like at the start of the year you get to allocate a week that you are taking off. So it's like Trent Cotchin could be like, look, I want to go over to, I don't know, Bali in April. See you later. He's going to take a week off in April, and that's his bye week. And so all the players could allocate a week that they're going to take off, and then they don't have to take the whole team off. Because it's like, why would you affect the whole team like that when you could just take a week off?
So basically, all the players get one RDO a year, but they can't. Yeah. Okay, so what are the rules on how many? What's the max amount of players that can take an RDO in one game, do you reckon? Is it 6 or like 3?
Let's go. I mean, how many injuries did the West Coast Eagles have? They could barely field 22 players, but they still did it. So like, let's say 10. There you go.
Oh, okay. So it kind of defeats the purpose, and that's almost a bye. Then teams will have basically 2 bye weeks because they'll just have like 2 games where they play 10 players. They have
Yeah,
10
but I
players
mean,
not
like they
play.
can still field a team, so you'll still
Yeah, but
play
they're
the
gonna
game.
lose those games.
No. If you have the depth on your list, Jasper, you could still do it. So
Well, then why not just make it instead of a bye week? Everyone in like the top 22 doesn't play, and then they just field a team of reserves and see how they go.
Okay, so yeah, maybe, but I think either way, maybe an annual leave week instead of a bye week. So that's one.
Ed,
John is not with it. John is back. Yeah, there we go.
I love this idea. I think it's excellent.
Taking leave, like, good work-life balance, but it's like, why does the whole team have to go off the same time? Like, I don't want to,
Exactly. Like, there's enough players, there's enough reserves. Like, look at the West Coast Eagles right now. They're not fielding half a team.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
for different reasons.
You can put more list spots on, like whatever. Like, it'd be fine. Okay, so if that doesn't work, this one's a little bit left field. So I don't know whether you guys have seen the movie Total Recall, but they make use of VR in that movie, and Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, Quaid.
Quaid.
What's his name?
Jack
Quaid or something like that. Anyway, he goes on a VR holiday, and like, as far as I'm aware, time passes differently where he thinks he's gone for like a very long time, but in fact it's probably only like a day or something like that. So all the players could go on a VR holiday for like a day, but they feel like it's a week, and so they come back refreshed.
Is it going to be like Total Recall where they have like they have to drag like a big metal thing out of their skull through their nose?
Maybe, yeah.
Like,
I think
they're married to an evil Michelle Pfeiffer. They see a 3-breasted lady.
Yeah.
Sharon Stone, sorry.
Yeah, I think you can go on any. You could just be like, I want to go on a VR holiday where I'm in Paris, eating a baguette and charming a local,
participating in the riots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, writing for Charlie Hebdo. You're gonna be an edgy French journalist. Anyway, so you can go on whatever holiday you want. What about VR holidays?
Yeah, like, I don't think it's so much.
What's this got to do with football?
No, because like, instead of taking a whole week,
they have a VR week.
You can have a VR holiday for a day where time passes differently, and you can just go on that holiday instead of taking a whole week, like some luxurious dole bludger or something like that. And yeah. So whatever.
So in this scenario, are the players waking up physically refreshed, like they hadn't played in a week?
They just feel like they have had the week that their VR experience gave them.
Because I don't think the bye week is so much about giving the players a holiday as it is about giving them a week of not playing football so that their bodies can recover.
Yeah, well, I guess they'll feel how they feel, right? Like, you've done VR before.
So I almost want to go the opposite route, and I want to say, no, you're not allowed a holiday. This isn't a holiday for you guys. You guys have to wear like an ankle bracelet that makes you have to stay at your home or at the training ground.
Yes.
This isn't a holiday for you guys. This is just a week of not playing
a game. Physical restoration period. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Ankle bracelets could be a winner. But okay, all right. What about this one? Could be a hit with the players. So everyone knows that, going on a sometimes you're at work, right? And like your boss is like, hey, you know what? It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, we still got to do some work, but how about we all have a beer? What about, instead of like, let's like make playing a bit more like a holiday. So one game a year, a game takes place in Bali on the beach. They can have a drink, they can do a bit of yoga, like, they can do whatever they want during the game, but it's like a sunny beach football. But it's still a match for premiership points. But it's kind of like a holiday. So they're having more fun, relaxed and chilling out, but still serious.
So these are probably some of the most competitive people in Australia.
Yeah.
And they're playing in a game for premiership points, which will affect their chances at winning a premiership at the end of the season.
But it's on a beach.
But they're going to take a chill and like they're going to hang out.
Well, because like you're having a few beers, you might like have a bit of something else, and like you're playing a game, and you're on the beach. You get to chill out in the pool at the end of the game.
What's the TV audience meant to be like on this one? Do you reckon it's going to be higher or lower than an average game?
Sorry,
watching the TV audience, the numbers. Do you reckon it's going to be higher or lower?
Imagine how many people would be interested to see what it looks like to play football on a different surface.
Yeah,
like
but then
sand.
you tune in and there's just like people just like sitting on their ass, just doing yoga
and playing football. You know?
Yeah, well, some of them maybe.
John was going to say something.
And I love this idea as well, because you've just basically described the NFL Pro Bowl week, where it's like the most useless week in sports in the NFL calendar. But it's where all the best players get together, and then it's like one conference versus the other conference, and then they just do ridiculous things for like a week.
Yeah.
Except this is for premiership points, though. Yeah. This is like saying if the Pro Bowl actually had implications for the regular season.
Yeah, so I don't know about that, but I do love the idea of like an AFL Pro Bowl.
But that's the Pro Bowl exists as the NFL's bye week almost, so because it gives all the other players a rest.
It's the week before the Super Bowl.
Okay. Well, let's go opposite on the next one, and let's say that in the off season, because this is about the players not having to buy at all, because a lot of us are doing it really tough. We live in a highly unequal society, but in the off season, the players, they go to a trip to a war-torn or poverty-stricken country for a few days to see how much worse other people have it, and they'll be grateful for playing AFL every week. And then their coach can, every time they're like, "Oh, I can't be bothered playing this week," their coach can be like, "Do you remember those kids in that country? They had no food and they were in like some war-torn country or whatever, and you're complaining about kicking a ball around on the weekend." So how about tough love for the players?
I'll do you one better. I'll say that they should be encouraged and enticed to join the front lines in an existing war that is happening around the globe somewhere. So they can go to Ukraine for a week. They can help out there.
Yeah, that's their bye week.
And then when Anzac Day comes around, they can actually say what it's like to fight as a soldier.
Like they have actual PTSD now.
Yeah.
And
and so they'll be on a higher plane because football means nothing in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah,
compared to life and death situations.
But they'll also have that kind of just glint in their eye that they could kill you if they
might have 1,000 yards there going a lot of the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's
so like their rookie season, they basically have to go do national service before they can enter the AFL.
Yes. We should have like the AFL should have like a deal with the army where they go and serve overseas for a year and then they get to play AFL.
We definitely need more military involvement in AFL as a whole.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, like the problem though would be occasionally like you're passing to a guy and he just gets into his 1,000-yard stare and it just goes right past him.
He sees it as like a grenade coming at him and he ducks.
Yeah, and then like the coach is giving him a spray and he's just having like flashbacks to like, "Just get out of there."
Yeah. This is a great idea. I'm for this idea.
This idea might not even make the pod. I might have to cut this out of respect for people who have like actually
the diggers. Yeah, true. Yeah.
Well, this is what we're trying to give the players, is for them to learn the respect of what it means to actually save your country.
Yes.
Yep. Absolutely. So I think we've solved it, guys.
Yeah. No, it's a bye to the bye week. No more.
Yeah.
Hello, the beaches of Ukraine.
Yeah. Exactly.
Excellent. Thank you, Ed. Another great week. rules the world. Not your best one?
Yeah.
I reckon it's up there. There
were some good moments.
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
Still recovering.
You lemon ginge?
Yes.
Yeah, nice.
An insult? You lemon ginge.
Yeah.
All right, let's finish up then with the week ahead going into
rounds.
14, I want to say, or is it 15? Round 15. Wow, we've been through 14 weeks of football. That's insane.
We're in the back half.
And that's with an extra round this year. Okay, so I'm just looking at the odds on Sportsbet's got a different, these guys are sponsors, where the Dees are 1.5 point favorites. PointsBet has just given Geelong 1.5 point favorites against the Dees tomorrow night at Cardinia Park.
Yeah.
Extremely low, not extremely, but very low implied total, 151.5 points. It usually sits around sort of like 160, 170, 180 mark.
Mm.
So they reckon it's going to be a low-scoring game. They reckon it's going to be a close one. They think Geelong's going to win, and I couldn't disagree with that more.
You reckon it's going to be a high-scoring Melbourne win?
Yes. Although statistically, from what I've seen, high-scoring games come from the underdog winning. But I guess in this case, they are the underdog, or there's this coin flip. I can't believe that. I think that the report is that Clayton Oliver might not play, but I can't see him swinging the results that much. And Reece Stanley coming into the team. We've got a few ins, actually. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll see if I can find these. But yeah, like, who do you think's going to win, Geelong or the Dees? I think the Dees will smash us.
Geelong at home. It's hard to go past.
No, I reckon the Dees will win in a close one. I reckon it'll be a close game though.
Geelong, Kardinia Park has not been the fortress lately that people always make it out to be. Like, there's been a lot of teams, like Giants beat us this year there. Freo beat us last year there. The Dees have smashed us in recent time there. Like, there's a few teams that come to Kardinia Park now and beat us.
They've got an all right record there, 19-41 over who knows how many, 150 years or something.
Yeah, of course.
Don't know what their most recent record's like there though.
Yeah, I think this will be. I reckon this will be a great match. I wish that that grandstand would get finished.
Feels like it's been going on for 150 years.
Yeah. Hey-yo. Yeah, is this like? I don't like looking at stadiums when they're being built. It's a bit gross. I think they need to finish this and get it done.
It's very Turek mum. I don't want to see this construction in my sight.
No, I don't like it. They should put like a CGI stadium where the grandstand isn't.
Should they do it like the
NBA bubble?
Like big fancy buildings in Europe where they put like a facade around it that is painted or printed to look like what the building actually is underneath the scaffolding and stuff.
That could work. Or like a CGI crowd from the latest AFL video game.
Just cardboard cutouts of the crowd of Billy Brownless all around.
Yeah, exactly. But I reckon Melbourne will win a close game tomorrow night.
So our ins are Reece Stanley and our out is Dangerfield, and Bowes will be, or Bowes? Bowes? Myson.
Bowes, Jack Bowes?
Yeah, Jack Bowes. I don't know why I got confused there. He's going to be the sub. Spargo not playing, Tomlinson not playing. Oh, Harrison Petty's playing. So he must be back from injury. You know what I hate about footy and footy media is you never really you don't get the final teams until like 10 minutes before the game. I feel like other sports don't have that. Like, there's much more transparency around like team lineups and who's playing and who's out. And
Geelong is actually the worst at injury. If you look at their injury list, they don't have any weeks as their estimated time. It says short term, long term, medium term. They don't say 2 to 3 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, whatever. Some people are upset about it. I just saw that.
And Geelong always says like managed or like rested or something like that, and it ends up being like a knee reconstruction.
Yeah, they've listed Patrick Dangerfield as an illness. He's out with an illness. He's got fractured ribs.
Sounds pretty ill to me.
Yeah.
Apparently, he was a chance to play. He was saying this week, or that he might be back next week. It's just the biggest bullshit comes out of Geelong.
Just trying to scare him.
Next biggest game would be either Collingwood versus Adelaide or St Kilda versus Brisbane, right?
So Pies are 18.5 point favourites, so not particularly close. I guess are they thinking that like Adelaide sort of started to cool a little bit, although Tex did just destroy.
It's at the G as well.
Yeah, Adelaide is apparently. Like statistically, they're like a 5-goal worst side outside of Adelaide. So, that would be interesting. So I reckon Collingwood should probably win this pretty well. I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon 5-goal wins for them.
Yeah.
The Pies aren't too injured either. The only one really is still Sidebottom, who's still a couple of weeks away. So, but also at the same time, like Crows are not too injured as well, other than Duday, who's now out for the season. Yeah, but I know what you mean. It's like I think that the Pies and their defense, which has been very, very solid, even though like the Crows' offense in Tex and Rankin and other players around, like with Rochelle signing on for what was it, 7 years today?
Yeah, to 2029.
Wow,
not bad. Fogarty, like
it's a
they've
long time.
Yeah, they've got some good players coming up. Yeah, I think it'll be good. But yeah, like I have not been able to stop thinking about what you were saying about like you need to be able to win at the G to win a flag. It's been resonating.
I mean, that's why interstate teams are so pissed about it always being at the G, because it really is an unfair advantage. Like, the Hawks get to play there 10 times a year at minimum, and then play the game for championship is at that stadium compared to a team that may not even play there all year.
Okay, controversial statement, but do you think if they ever move the grand final, they should take away all the premierships won against interstate team?
Absolutely, without question. I don't need to think about it anymore.
And give the premiership to the interstate team because
even better.
Historically it was unfair. So Hawthorn would never have won their three-peat because all of them were unjustly played at against Sydney, West Coast, and Freo. So it's like they should hand back all those premierships to those teams.
Yeah,
because
absolutely, 100%. Yeah, everyone will
I'm
be
glad you
happy
agree.
You can only joke about that because the last time your team won one was barely when it was the AFL.
Yonks ago. Yeah. Exactly. And
VFL,
we beat Melbourne. So, yeah.
I'm still pro the grand final should rotate like the Super Bowl. For what it's worth, but let's not get into Jasper hates that idea.
Well, especially when it just goes to a random fucking stadium that's unrelated to the two teams playing. Yes, I hate that idea.
Yeah, I like it.
I hate it.
I love that you're much more of a traditionalist and I'm much more of a what's the word?
I'll come up with some words for you if you want. But, you're very wrong.
Jasper's very traditional though. For listeners out there, Jasper goes to church on Sundays. He eats meat and 2 veg for dinner every night.
Lunch and dinner.
Still reads newspaper.
Yeah. The broadsheet.
I'm very trad in my lifestyle.
No, so the other close games this weekend will be the Saints and the Lions. I guess it's being played at Marvel Stadium, where Lions haven't fared too well, but they are 4.5 point favorites.
It's better than the G.
Yeah,
better than the G. Thank God for that. And then the Bombers and Freo. Freo is 4.5 point favorites. Bombers are in good form.
I reckon. I mean, realistically, if we do play finals, we should beat this team. And so I think we will beat them. And that's my big tip of the week. I reckon we'll beat Freo. And I think we should beat them. So
I don't know if that's that big of a tip, but I mean, looking at the odds, they are the underdog, but I reckon they're the better team. So
yeah.
I think you're without Sam Draper for the rest of the year. Is that right? Or they're not sure.
The rest of the year.
He was a test for this game.
Was he? Okay. Again, I'm reading the injury list and it's so inaccurate.
And
Darcy Parish is a test.
Darcy Parish is also a test, yeah. I mean, I don't know. There could have been news in the last little bit that he's out but yesterday I read that he was a test for this game, so he's got to prove his fitness or something.
It looks like it's unlikely for this week, but
he's got like a hip issue or something. So who knows? I mean. Yeah, Essendon is also like Geelong, smoke and mirrors for injury stuff. So I wouldn't know, but I really hope the Bombers win this one because that will make me get very hopeful for the rest.
What is Travis Cloak saying about smoke and mirrors?
You tell me.
Hold on. Smoke and shadows behind the windows. He was in a press conference and he inflated all the.
That's great.
You just reminded me of that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that Freo will lose back-to-back games over in Perth, but it'll be a good challenge. Setterfield's still out for a couple more weeks. And then the only other game of interest, because Swans play the Eagles, so who really cares about that? The Suns and the Hawks. Is this going to be a close game?
Could be. We'll lose.
The Suns are 24-point favorites.
Yeah, I mean it's up there. They are coming off a pretty bad loss. Hawks coming off on a win, so
how do Hawks travel up to
probably
Queensland?
Not well. Yeah, I mean we've won a few games away, but we'll lose by I reckon 18 points.
I reckon this game will be close. The only reason I would tip the Suns is because playing up there it's such a different game because the ball is so greasy and slippery and it's different conditions. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I think. Otherwise, if it was played on a neutral ground, as a grand final should be, I reckon I would tip the Hawks because I reckon they're in good form. Suns played a shocker and they looked awful last week.
No Sicily again.
Sicily's still out until round 18. You might have Sam Frost back, and
it's not exactly a like for like.
Yeah,
equally talented.
And Chenkuth Jathmak will hopefully be back from his calf injury.
I didn't realize. I mean, I would be very surprised if CJ didn't come back via the VFL because.
Okay.
He hasn't had the best form when he started this year, so he's not someone who isn't automatically locked for a seniors game, I don't think. But I wouldn't be, but especially with Sicily out, he may get a game.
Very good. Last weekend of buys, as we were saying before we get back into actual footy. Is this
last weekend ever before we sort it out before next season, and then never happen again.
When they go over to a war-torn country or something.
People aren't going to know what you're talking about, Ed, because it might not even
be when we sent teams to the Ukraine for the players to the Ukraine to sort out the buy. This is so Johnny can't edit it out.
Yeah. I will find a way.
Yeah.
That's going to do it for this week's show. I'm just going to quickly plug a new show that I have. Ooh. It's going to come out every Saturday morning. It's called the Saturday Air Raid. It's with some good friends of mine from the Twitter sphere, Brad Bolt and Dan O'Connell. It's going to be about college football and NFL players on their rookie contracts. So if you like hearing me talk into a mic, what is wrong with you? But also tune in. It's going to be on YouTube and on Apple and Spotify. But that's it. Woo. All right. Until then, we'll catch you next week.
Bye.